Good morning, everyone. It's obviously, if you noticed in the ends of the pews, Catholic Charities Appeal Weekend. But before we do that, just a brief note about Lent. It seems pertinent as that begins this Wednesday with Ash Wednesday. Lent being a penitential season means that we're called to observe forms, practices of penance. And penance always takes the form of prayer, fasting, or almsgiving. And it is, by definition, an outward action that is meant to foster inward growth, spiritual conversion. So it's not meant to be seen as a punishment. It's meant to be seen as spiritual strengthening, an outward action that cultivates inward conversion. That's why when we go to confession and receive a penance, it's meant to take the form of prayer or fasting or almsgiving. And those are things that should define the Christian life. We should always be praying, right? And there should be some element of fasting in our lives at all times. And we are, of course, called to give alms as we are able. So these are not things that start to happen during Lent, but are increased or receive a renewed focus during Lent and amp them up a little bit so that we can foster that spiritual growth, grow closer to the Lord. Because Lent really, it's easy to receive Lent as kind of like, oh, Lent again. It's time to do that. But it really, hopefully we don't see it that way as much as we say, oh, it's Lent again. It's that time of the church's spiritual retreat. We take a step back, examine our lives, go more deeply, amplify or increase or alter our practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving so that we can join Jesus in the desert and grow closer to him and really receive him in a new way, in a deeper way, come the Easter season. And so I encourage everyone to have a plan. If you don't already have a plan by Wednesday so that when we wake up and it's Ash Wednesday morning, we're ready to go with that prayer, fasting, almsgiving, whatever it is we feel compelled to try to do this year. And don't go crazy. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't set yourself up for failure. Start easy. You can always add things to your practices during Lent. If you're going along and you're saying, this is too easy, I'm not growing, this doesn't seem very penitential, you can always add to it. So be reasonable in what you set out to do. And if you stumble and fall, if it all collapses a week in, 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, halfway through, whatever kind of collapses, and you're like, yeah, I've stopped giving up what I've given up. Okay, start anew. Every day you have to wake up and enter into the spiritual life. Start anew. Put the past away. Don't look back at the mess up. Continue forward. So I'm very glad to be able to go through Lent for the first time here with all of you. I've got my plan in place. I'm ready to go for Ash Wednesday, and I hope that you all have a very meaningful and refreshing and spiritually deep Lent as we engage in these practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And now, of course, speaking of almsgiving,